Welcome back to the Justice Factor. Deputy Traditional Affairs Minister Obed Bapela says the government is working on new laws to deal with illegal initiation schools. The Deputy Minister visited Mthatha in the Eastern Cape last week, where 25 initiates died recently after being circumcised. Deputy Minister Obed Bapela is my guest today to discuss this and other issues. Deputy Minister, welcome to the show. I have to say, 490 young black men, kids, have died in the past 6 years. This is more than the people who've died in Gaza, for example, these past few weeks. And I have not seen the kind of anger from your government, from my government, that should accompany such a number. This is a massacre.
Look, the number is even little the way you say it. It's bigger than that. Because just in 2012, it was 400. Then in 2013 was 116. This
then I say to you,
31.
Why isn't there a state of emergency? Why aren't I seeing people being arrested and thrown into jail for this?
Look, Justice, I mean, when this matter exploded at that time, it was a shock to all of us, because all along, all these years, there had been no problems in that particular sector. And then all of a sudden it explodes, and then it finds you at the time when the laws are not as regulating. You arrest people, they get scot-free, because running an illegal school, there's no law that can make you arrest that person and punish them. It's only when people die that we were able then to persuade the police to say Criminal Procedure Act does apply when there's death. But go and investigate. And
Minister, you were not in the job, but in 2009,
30 people have been arrested this year.
In 2000, those are people from last year, but 2009, 91 people died in the Eastern Cape. 91 people died in the Eastern Cape at these initiation schools. A minister at the time, Shitaka, said, we're going to bring about laws, we're going to stop this. Here I am sitting right next to you 5 years later, boom, nothing.
Well, when I came into the department a few weeks ago as a new deputy minister there, the police.
You're a member of the African National Congress.
I'm a member of the African
National
Congress,
has been
definitely.
In power.
Yes. And then the policy has been almost completed. It's now going through cabinet processes, because before you can bring in legislation, you ought then to have a policy in place. And that is why I'm so confident that going forward, by the end of the year or beginning of next year, we'll have a policy so that the next season, in June next year, it will find us even more ready, because the issue is to illegalize illegal schools, because a lot of this are happening there. Wrong things are happening there.
You personally are not responsible, but your government has not done anything about this for 5 years. How can I believe that you, Deputy Minister Bapela, will do something about it now?
Well, from reducing it from 419 to 116, and this year confidently to 31. It begins to show.
We already,
it does begin to show that we are indeed doing something about it.
We're not done yet. We're not done yet. This year is still trundling on. The winter still on.
Well, the first 8 days to 14 days are the most critical days. And once you pass that stage, then it means you have arrested. And look how many people have rescued the children. We had to go to illegal schools. Over 200 children have been rescued. Last year we rescued 800. This year is 200. The figure is still big, and we are beginning to say that we need to illegalize them so that we can then arrest people and deal with them. Number two, we have to put in the matter of age into those particular schools. 3, what is it that they are teaching? We have to look at the curriculum development so that we don't compromise culture, we don't assimilate culture, but at the same time introduce male medical circumcision. And I think that is the way to go. Traditional leaders still are not sure about it, but we are engaging them, and the government of Eastern Cape is organizing a summit in September with the
government
traditional
of the
leaders
Eastern
to say
Cape
it is the way
biggest
to go.
Culprit in this.
Eastern Cape.
More than 400 by the numbers of the Commission on Cultural Rights. But they are the worst culprit.
Definitely,
and they're not doing much about it.
Yeah.
But I want to put it to you that actually imagine, and I have to bring race into this, because imagine if 490 white boys had died in the past 5 years. Your government would be jumping up and down doing stuff about it. Black lives are cheap in this country. 490 kids.
Justice, I wouldn't agree with you that we didn't do anything.
Well,
We are
you're not doing
something.
enough, are you?
You may say it's not enough, but we are going to do even more. Yes, we want zero tolerance. When we came in, we said no one should die this year. But what happens? Illegal schools flourish. We don't even know where they are. And until when people started reporting them, look at how many schools were to close as a result of the cooperation with the police and the people. And the police have been out there closing them, banning them, arresting those people, rescuing children. And I think that is an action where government now begin to say, we cannot tolerate this and to go on.
I want to ask you about the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, where South Africa managed to set up courts, managed to make sure that not a single tourist from anywhere in the world was mugged without consequence and swift action. And yet when 490 kids, by the count of this commission, are dying, that doesn't seem to be, it's, oh, you know, we'll sort it out, we'll get a law and so forth.
Well, Justice, obviously we are counting a period of 5 years. The first 3 years of that 5 years, this was a hidden death camps that were happening.
No, it's recorded in 2009, 91, in 2083, in 2013,
Yeah.
23 in 2014.
It's recorded, but it never captured the media either.
Okay.
So now it was in 2012 when the media caught it and we also saw it that we started moving into action. And government is doing something, and we are going to be illegalizing the dealing away with all illegal schools, bring in male medical circumcision, because circumcision is the issue, is the main cause of the deaths.
Yes,
and then yet initiation is just 95% is initiation, and only this 10% that is a killer that we need to deal with.
This is a cultural practice that is killing our children.
Well,
Why
I wouldn't
don't
say
we ban
culture
it?
kills.
No, I wouldn't say culture, but a cultural practice. So let's ban it.
Well, it's more the circumcision part of it. When you ban culture, ban something that causes deaths. But then we are not going to ban it. What we say, we are going to introduce the male medical circumcision so that the modern way of doing circumcision can then effect. Doctors have been recruited, those who have been initiated, obviously, and we are going to be saying to the traditional leaders, your traditional surgeons, the experienced ones are gone. They are no more anywhere. And therefore, we ought then to bring this law now so that we don't affect the cultural practice itself, but we deal with the circumcision, which is just a 10 or 15% of the occasion of initiations that takes place.
Tell me, what is the social impact, if you've looked at it, of having these young kids? Because you've spoken about the kids who've died, but there are tens of thousands of kids who return from those mountains, from where these schools, with their male members gone, and they're released into society. What do you think happens?
Look, I mean, it was difficult to convince the police that this is crime because they thought it was traditional. We said, no, we need to start arresting people. And that is why, hence, the number of arrests that are now increasing. And then I think the results are now beginning to demonstrate that this is crime if we do wrong things in the circumcision schools or in the initiation schools for that particular matter. And then the culprits have been arrested. There's one called Mchina in the Eastern Cape who is serving 15 years today as I speak to you. One was also sentenced last year for 5 years. The 30 that we have arrested were sent to the Justice Department, the prosecution, and the investigators do a thorough job and make sure, therefore, that those people are sentenced with the current laws as they stand. But then we'll then be bringing new laws that will even begin to regulate the establishment of the school, the registration of the school, the people that runs the school, who are those people, train them, and so that if anything goes wrong, look at Limpopo, they've accepted male medical circumcision, and it's working in Limpopo, it's zero fatality there.
Deputy Minister Obed Bapela, I wish you luck in this job. It's
I will
tough one,
definitely
and I
do
hope
my
you
best
succeed.
and then deliver to the people and save lives.
Thanks so much.
Thank
After
you.
the break, our winner and loser of the week. Stay with us.
News that moves. ENCA.com.